Good evening and welcome to Atlantic Television Press Roundtable, coming to you live here in the Garden City of Port Harcourt. Well, today is not going to be different. 8 p.m. Press Roundtable comes to you live 7 to 8 p.m. every day, and it's a gathering, a convergence of media professionals who come together to look at trending news and current affairs issues, provide right perspective and balance. And today we have some interesting stories that are actually trending in the last 24 hours. Access Holding PLC explains choice of Wigwe's successor. Tricycle operators embark on strike over excessive fines. Federal government pays 90 ministries, MDAs, January salaries. Federal government, World Bank partner on climate change. These are some of the headlines. I'm sure you're watching us live on our various social media platforms. AtlanticTelevision.network.tv on our mobile app, ATN Live, on YouTube, and most importantly, on Facebook, Atlantic Television Network. This Press Roundtable coming to you live. When I come back, I'll introduce my guest, and we'll go on a quick break. Don't get away, we'll be right back. My name is Bon Woki.
From the line across the ocean to the land beyond the mountains, through the Sahara, we bring on sport news, live analysis,
You're welcome back. It is still ATM Press Roundtable, and I have here in the studio my colleague, journalist, the Vice President of Zone F, the new J. Zone F is the South. You're welcome, sir. Welcome to the program. You're wearing the kind of uniform that, the color that Cote d'Ivoire wore when they beat us.
I'm not here to beat anyone. Let your heart not be troubled.
Oh, my heart will not be troubled because I know that it won't be so. Well, let's look at some of the stories. Commercial tricycle riders in Damaturu, Yobe State capital, have staged a protest on Tuesday over the alleged excessive fines imposed on them by the Yobe Road Traffic Agency. The operators claim that their members had been subjected to a high level of harassment by Yorota personnel, whom they said charge high fees for minor traffic offenses and other fresh registration by every rider. Reports indicate that students, commuters, and businesses so far as tricycle riders express their frustration over the situation, demanding government's intervention. Bukar Adamu, a tricycle rider, said, they are charging us exorbitant fines from 5,000 to 20,000 for minor traffic offenses. We won't take it anymore. Last year they created unnecessary charges of around 40,000 on 20 or on forced us to pay. Now they want us to pay another money for stickers and vehicle registration plates. We will not allow any harassment again. We are on strike. I'm protesting to say no to any fresh restriction by every rider so that government and relevant agencies can address the ongoing maltreatment and excessive fines imposed by the Yobe State Road Safety Traffic commuters and businesses. Well, there's hardship everywhere. If you listen to trading news last week, they were all talking about protest, talking about strike, protesting hardship. Can came about with that. A lot of agencies, NGOs, Christian clerics, social critics, rights activists have been talking about it. And there were protests in about 3 states about the current hardship. And the Yobe State government doesn't seem to be very sensitive. He talked about insensitivity. To impose heavy fines on tricycle operators. These are the least level of operators, workers that you can think of. And when you frustrate them at the level of fines, where would they get their living? Because this is just a symbolic scenario of the oppressive nature of state.
Well, this is Yobe State we're talking about, but I'm sure this is not very new to us. It's not novel, because it appears this is one thing that cuts across a lot of states. This issue of getting revenue, taxing people. They talk about multiple taxations, and then we can relate with it, especially for those of us in River State. And when it gets so hard that things are getting from bad to worse, as if in Nigeria, living in Nigeria is getting from bad to worse, and somebody is trying to eke a living, and then the government that ought to probably help one way or the other is causing a lot of hardship for the same people, and you are wondering where should they go to for salvation. It is really difficult for people who are trying as much as possible to see how they can cope with the current reality in Nigeria. The economy is biting and biting very hard. And if there is anybody that any other person should look up to make things easier, I think it should be the government. And when it is government agencies now that are continually heaping taxes on the people, where will they go? You push them to the wall, and then what happens? They can't take it. And I'm not sure this is just, okay, NLCT usually are warming up for strike just because of things like this. So for me, around the country, from the federal government to state to local governments, I think they should begin to have a heart and begin to think seriously about helping, what they can do to help the situation. Because as it stands now, it only appears that only those in government, very high government positions, are the people enjoying it. I mean, they don't have a reason to complain, as it were. But every other person at the lower cadre of society, it is unbearable. It is really, really unbearable in this country. A situation where a bag of rice that we used to buy 7,000, how many years ago, is now 70.
Yes, 80 something.
Tomorrow you go, they tell you another. So when will it end? And if that be so, then share the millions, let everybody become a millionaire so that we'll be able to survive. Because if you accept you're earning up to ₦1 million a month, my dear, to live in Nigeria now, some relative comfort with a sizable family, it's difficult. There is nothing that has not added, I mean, except salaries. So how do you want the people actually to survive? How? It's when people make it in light of it, I'm not sure NS is saying come and give us, but you must make the conditions right for people to live. After all, Bola Tinubu told us he was going to give a living wage. Honestly speaking, what would you consider to be a living wage now in the present situation we find ourselves in Nigeria? What would you consider? So if a bag of rice is about 80, as you're mentioning, is anyone else going to ask for a bag of rice for a worker, I mean, with an average family? Are you going to ask for 80? Present is 30,000 minimum wage. If you're not asking for 100, are you asking for just a bag of rice? For a month, for a family. So is that what is reasonable?
Nothing can be reasonable, because from what I see, any amount of money you put will be swallowed by the
economic situation. So
the best thing is engage government and let government pay what is possible and let the economy improve, turn around. I've had a lot of measures that are put in place, but those measures don't seem to be very strong and concrete enough See, while we were playing football in Cote d'Ivoire, Nigerians seem to have forgotten the sad realities in our country. And I was telling them that it was like an opiate.
Of course,
You know, once it wears out, you come back to reality. So now we are back to reality, even though we didn't win, but at least we did well. And there was a gap, at least for how many days? Just giving a number of days. Although some people were dying of hypertension. People were already hypertensive.
Can you imagine?
People were already hypertensive because of the economic pressures, and then ended up expecting too much to be happy and all that. So I think that in all, there appears to be no way out of our woes. But I think that government should make it lighter.
See, how is government supposed to make it like that? Look at when you say NSC is asking for probably too much, look at it. As they are giving to you, they are increasing rates and taxes everywhere. They're increasing electricity rate. They're increasing the fuel. You don't know how much it is. Now we're hearing IMF is already talking about subsidy coming back through the back door and all that. Do you want to increase it for that? The same people. So how much are you going to give these people and continually increasing every other thing? House rent is increasing, school fees are increasing, everything is increasing. And the increase is continuing.
Unorganized.
People can't feed anymore.
And so we don't need all this oppressive.
So if you're not stopping it, then give them as much as 1 million, let them see. If
Well, I think that's not possible, because at that point
it is not possible. So look for, they're not even, if you are able to put all of this in check and you give them, come down to 5,000, nobody will complain as long as that is going to take care of. I mean, in this same country, you and I am old enough, and at certain points in this country, some people were earning 100, 200, 120 naira a month, and they were still give you a bungalow, 5,000 naira. By the time you get 10, 12,000, you're talking about a story building. This is the same country. And people didn't complain then. They earned a brand new Peugeot you can get from here, and just for 8,000, 6,000.
That was the remote past. My salary was 300 naira.
That is it.
I earned 300 naira.
Fine.
As a graduate.
And it was okay.
As a graduate, and I earned 300 naira.
So if you're and the people didn't complain. There was some level of.
When I was in university, my lecturer, who was an associate professor, said that his salary was 500 naira.
So did anybody complain then?
No.
And now you are giving them hundreds and hundreds of thousands, and the complaint is there because it can no longer take.
Well, I think that the nature of the economy is the problem. At the time Nigeria was counting, we were counting in pence, started counting in kobo.
Kobo.
Then
pounds.
Suddenly
Came to pounds and all of that.
Suddenly we are where we are, which is, well, let's go to a much more, this is going to be a tribute to a great Nigerian, a great riversman, a philanthropist, and a man who has made it all. But let's take the story and find out why there's so much haste in having a successor. Access Holdings PLC has said the choice of Mrs. Bolaji Agbede as acting group chief executive director, executive officer of the company was in alignment with its succession plan. Commenting on the appointment, the chairman of the company, Abaka Jimo, in a filing to the Nigerian Exchange Group, GX, noted that Ms. Agbede is company's most senior executive with exceptionally rich professional and leadership experience and understanding of access culture. Said the acting GCEO will provide the leadership to steer the company towards the attainment of its strategic vision of building a globally connected community and ecosystem. The appointment of Ms. Agbede is in alignment with our robust succession plan practices. We are strongly convinced that Ms. Agbede, being the company's most senior executive, with exceptionally rich professional and leadership experience and understanding of access culture, will provide a much-needed leadership to steer the companies towards the attainment of its strategic vision of building a globally connected community and ecosystem inspired by Africa for the world. He said Bolaji replaces late Wigwe as Access Holding acting GCEO about Wigwe Access Holding stocks by 6.2%. Reports indicate that Bede was appointed following the demise of the chief executive officer, Dr. Albert Wigwe, in a helicopter crash amongst his wife Doreen son Chizzy, former chairman of the Nigerian Exchange Group, on Friday in California, United States. A statement made by the company's board of directors stated that the appointment was subject to the approval of the Central Bank of Nigeria. Until her recent appointment, Mr. Mbede was the company's most senior founding executive director in business. Well, let's look at why should this. There's a man called Herbert Wigwe. Herbert Wigwe was a great banker. He has a degree in marketing, in accounting from the University of Nigeria in 1987. He later took a master's degree in UK in banking and finance. Also took another degree in development economics. He's a chartered Institute of Banking. He's also a fellow of ICANN and many other banking and business related. And this is a man who was a co-founder of Access Bank. He actually was with GT Bank and later joined forces with his friend and founded Access Bank. And Access Bank moved so fast to the 5th position in terms of ranking, and one of the most viable banks in the entire continent of Africa. Access Holding became a big name. And he's a man who wasn't greedy to hold on to all their shares. He divested the shares and bought so many banks, Diamond Bank, and a lot. And the question many Nigerians are asking, why should such a man be replaced in a hurry? They say it is a culture, it is a procedure, it is a protocol of Access Holding to replace a group CEO with the most senior person. Nobody's quarreling with that, but why so soon? And what's your take about this man? You see, the loss is so much felt in Rivers State. I remember that in my community, Access Bank was established. There was no bank for many years in the whole of Ikwere North because Eco Bank went down and Access Bank was established. And the whole of Ikwere and Emoha local government, no light. No light for 2 years now, never. Despite all the efforts by Emoha local government, by individuals, no light. He came to Elele during the flag and said he was going to restore light in a short time because there's Access Bank at Isobo now, and there's one at Elele. These people will not work without light. And beyond that, an Ivy League university with 60% American faculty, so 60% Nigerian faculty, and 40% American faculty. A university that was going to be an elitist university within ranks of Harvard and all that. But he also made a promise. He said scholarships will be given to Rivers indigents who deserve to be there because many will cannot afford. So for such a man to just fritter away, like Shakespeare said, he said life is like a walking shadow, a poor player that that fresh and short his hours upon the stage and his had no more. Just fritters away like that. And all we're getting from the bank is a man who died with his wife and son, leaving 2 daughters and his son. Heartbroken, leaving his father, leaving his mother. They're all alive. His father was former Director General of NTA. Shouldn't we have had a much more humane process of replacing a man like this? And even if there was going to be a replacement, it should have been an underground thing, quietly without announcing, until you now have a substantive group CEO. This hurried change of leadership of the bank pains, doesn't it?
First and foremost, I think as a Rivers man, I know it hurts.
Yes.
And it hurt me badly. I don't need to know him, but I don't need to be related to him by blood. I don't need to be from Ikwere, but the fact that this man with all his credentials and high profile and very, I mean, in River State, we have not had this kind of people for so long.
For long.
Now we don't have many of them.
Not many of them anymore.
And so I feel it like a personal loss. So to me, it's something that breaks the heart actually, and my heart actually goes out. My prayers are with his family, the people he has truly left behind. If it pains me this much, I wonder what will be happening to his immediate family. And I know his father. I met his father during the Truth and Reconciliation Commission. Yeah, we worked on the same. I was a support staff, and so I know Shingu, and I know by now he would be fairly aged now, and so you can imagine. But these are emotions we're talking about, and our sentiments. That's okay. And for me, I just pray that God will, in His infinite mercy and grace, give everyone the fortitude to bear. It's really difficult. It's very difficult.
Very difficult.
But, well, there's a business world.
That's a business world, yes. Always in a hurry.
So it's a business
and
world.
all that counts most times is money, not more than morality.
A business world.
Look at the man,
So
look at him.
I was really
being
thinking,
replaced in a hurry. A co-founder.
I mean, this is what happens at,
Exactly.
at that level. But again, like we said, this is boardroom politics. This is business.
No.
And my only reason I was trying to get at what could be the
reason for the hurry.
Yeah, and the only reason I could find is this: we're already seeing 6.2% fall in their shares, and I guess they're in a hurry. In a situation like this, the more the vacuum will leave, you don't want to give your investors reason to begin to also, to say what is happening without this man, what is going to happen, what is not going to happen, and then because if you leave a vacuum, of course, people will. A lot of you never can tell. This is a business world. I don't belong there. I don't know how it works. But then, I also do know that the moment people can't really, these are investors, the moment they cannot, you give them, you give a lacuna and they can't see.
Okay, give an impression that
without this person, things may not be exactly what they used to be and all that, then you can.
So they're just trying to say, we still have a leadership structure.
We still have a leadership structure that you can rely on.
Sustain
exactly
the organization.
Your investments are still safe.
Exactly. And that's why they're making it public, because the properties, the bank is public.
So I wonder,
and the shares are public.
Yes,
but if
just
not,
to keep investors confidence that they are capable of getting along with the
institution.
And then
with or
without him.
Exactly.
Especially
so there's no morality in that.
And then,
but I think that investors, the shareholders, should have understood. Because ordinarily, that's why they are giving the profile of this woman.
Exactly.
Many people are not interested. What's important is there's an acting CEO.
Yeah.
And they just lie it low there. You just see an acting CEO. Well, how you do it, whichever way you do it, there will still be a replacement.
Ultimately, there will still be a replacement.
All right. Well, that's much we can take on this half. With that sad note, we'll go on a short break. When we come back, we hit the road running with the remaining stories. May the soul of Abat Bigwe and his wife and son and friends rest in peace. Amen. From us, Atlantic Television Network, and from Press Roundtable. Stay glued.
From the line across the ocean to the land beyond the mountains, through the Sahara, we bring on-the-spot news, live analysis, expert discussions on trending stories in politics, business, socio-economy, sports, and documentaries. So catch all the updates on the happenings around the globe. Stay focused on the fact today, only on ATM.
Every day, our lives are changed by history.
We are one people, all of us.
Leaders, politics,
Nobody's ambition is what they blood.
I have fought very firmly.
natural occurrence, war, and the world economy.
I belong to everybody and I belong to nobody.
ATN covers it all on ATN Politics today.
People into the country illegally. That is amazing.
Honorable
You human
on the point of order.
Honorable
They are not picking our calls. They made up their minds.
Yeah, welcome back. And if you just joined us, it is ATM Press Roundtable Live. Papa Katoko is here in the studio, and my name is Bon Woke. Well, let's look at what is happening. Federal government. The federal government has said all affected federal workers in about 90 ministries, departments, and agencies have received their January salaries. Top officials at the head of civil service office, selected MDS, told newsmen Tuesday that they have interacted with colleagues and their subordinates who all confirmed that they received their salaries. The Director of Press and Public Relations at the OAGF, Bawa Mokwas, told newsmen that the office monitored the development and can confirm that all affected MDAs and workers have received their salaries. He expressed optimism that such delay would not occur in the future. About 90 officers across the MDA were affected, 90, including some universities and polytechnics. After the MDS include the Office of Head of Service, or Head of Civil Service of the Federation, the Ministry of Information and National Orientation, the Ministry of Education, the National Population Commission, the News Agency of Nigeria, the Voice of Nigeria. The media was affected, among others. The workers have lamented that their December 2023 salary delay experience ought not to have been repeated. Others allege that the delay in the payment of their salaries was an indication that the government was insensitive to the sufferings of the masses. The delay in December salary payment have been attributed to technical issues relating to upload and harmonization of integrated payroll and personal information (IPPS) while that of January salaries was blamed on the technical glitch in the government integrated financial management system platform by the Office of the Accountant General or the Federation. Technical issues, lack of finance, which one do we hold? You see, a situation when federal government cannot pay salary, and you're blaming the state. Top MDAs like Office of the Secretary of the Government of the Federation, Head of Civil Service, agencies like News Agency of Nigeria, UN and all that, universities and polytechnics not receiving their salaries since till now. 90 MDAs. And we're talking about a country economy, so what's our hope for survival?
In December, there was technical
Glitch.
whatever. In January, there's technical. Who says in February? Who says in February it won't
Snake will not come and swallow the money.
So, see, it's not that the federal government can't pay, but they have the money, and they are telling us technical this and technical that, and only they and God, know exactly what the true situation is. But I don't think it should have happened at all. And I just hope that the earlier they put their acts together, the better for everybody. In this harsh condition where even those who got the money are still finding it hard to survive, and then you hold people's salaries and mention to them technical glitch and all that. Today is 13th of February, and that is when we're talking about people and receiving their January salaries. I think it's not good enough. It is not good enough. How much is the salary we're talking about?
It's the salary that you want to increase.
You still want
you can't pay this, and you're talking about increase.
No, the issue is not can't pay. I have not said they couldn't pay, but that somewhere along the line, there's a story. Not that they don't have capacity to pay, no, but there were issues with
glitches and what have you.
With their whatever payment systems and all that, and I don't know. These are the same systems they use to do a lot of the fraud that we're talking about. I know how much trouble. We know how much trouble as you had with them over IPPIS.
And they said they're still there. They have not removed it. And if we are still having these glitches and these issues with salary, it means that they have not removed them. And also recently, in a release I read yesterday also, they said that they still have that hiccup from IPPIS, and it is still there. So if it is not efficient enough, why are they still using it?
So somebody will be benefiting from all of these glitches and all of that. Government needs to put its heads down, because these are some of the avenues they use. Corruption, a lot of corruption happening within this. So we need, I don't know as a country what we will do about corruption, because corruption is killing this country. Physical, you are not sure, people carry money, people do all manner of things. You bring in technology, they are still in there. So there is something that is wrong with the, I don't know how we were going to remove this from our system, because we are just, so insensitive, so inhumane to our fellow Nigerians. Because people who are doing this are doing what they are doing, and they do not care how it affects the ordinary man, the person who survives on this. Who knows how many people would have, how many lives would have been disrupted by this delay in this situation? Who knows? We will never have. This is a country where we do not have even statistics to measure what impact all of these glitches have on the people. Somebody who is expecting that, okay, probably had gotten some facility or something somewhere and say, look, we know by our system, by every 28 or 29, we're expecting salary and I will come back. And by the time that does not drop, do you know, if you, when it happens and then it crosses to the next month, that means you have defaulted. You are going to pay, instead of 1 month, maybe interest or something, it goes into a second one. Sometimes you are even fined. And so people lose a lot of money. You disrupt lives. I hope, I don't know whether these people actually factor in all of this when they begin to play with people's lives. I think issues about salaries of people should be handled with such efficiency that they do not have. It is so little, but let that little get to them so that they can run their lives. Let it not happen again.
Now,
but because it happened in December, it happened in January, I am afraid.
And if this is happening to the center, I hope it will not rub off on the states. Because if states cannot pay, it will become more dangerous, because more Nigerians live in the states. So when federal government is showing this kind of bad example, what do you think will happen to us in the states?
No, that's why I say
Nigerians, I think that the government of the day doesn't seem to be ready to improve the loss of Nigeria. We're moving from bad to worse.
That's why I say the issue is not capacity. They went to, they go for their FAC, they
I saw the fact recently. The money is big enough.
And they also, I mean, publicize what is shared. So the money is there. But the former accountant general, how much is he? I mean, the kind of amount of fraud related matter that is hanging on his head. You can imagine. So at that very top level, the system, there are a lot of people in the system that would make it difficult for the system to efficiently work. At the state level, you do not have such payment platforms like the IPPS and all that. So somewhere along the line, some states, I mean, a lot of states are able to take care of that.
Well, in Nigeria, we're talking about e-governance and e-governance, payment system, computerization, and all that. If you don't have efficiency in this process or these processes, then what are we talking about? Those days when we used to sign vouchers and collect money by hand, ordinarily they pay into your bank account. If beyond that, you go to the bank and collect your money. We didn't have these glitches. But now that everything, payroll system is computerized and everybody has a biometric system and you can easily be accounted for, we have proper data, why are we still having this?
Corruption. People in the system. Because these things are garbage in, garbage out. What is it?
Exactly.
So when you have people that you cannot trust...
But I just believe that it's a technical issue, not inability to pay.
No.
And I hope that the states will see it in that regard. They shouldn't be copying bad examples, thinking that the federal government cannot pay. Yes, I think that the federal government can pay the same glitches we had in the election. Now still coming into people's life, personal life. Well, let's look at the last story and trail off. You can see the weather is so hot, even under air conditioning. Very hot. So we're talking about climate change. The Nigerian Minister of Environment has revealed that addressing climate change is of keen interest to President Bola Tinubu, who is concerned about rapid encroachment of desertification in the northern parts of Nigeria. Honorable Abbas Lawal also emphasized the urgency to work hard in order to recover and reclaim lands lost to desertification. He made the emphasis while addressing a team of environment experts from the World Bank, including agroclimatic resilience in semi-arid landscapes. Officials and other stakeholders at the Acrisol Federal Project Management Unit, the FP operation, among the Ministries of Environment, Agriculture and Food Security, Water Resources and Sanitation, as well as the World Bank, will result in the success of the Acrisol project. Unquote. We're not doing this because we have a job. We want to save our environment, the minister added, while revealing the partnership between the Nigerian government and the World Bank, which has led to a multi-institutional machinery to stem the fast-paced degradation of landscapes of the country's northern region. The minister added that Acrisol will be pivotal in facilitating the much-needed interagency cooperation among the ministries, as well as within the 19 northern states and the Federal Capital Territory. Acrisol, which the minister said involves several federal and state ministries, departments and NGOs, local governments, communities and civil societies, will also provide solutions to desertification, flooding, climate variability, deforestation, extensive cultivation, overgrazing, bush burning, field wood extraction, charcoal production, faulty irrigation systems, improper road drainage, design, and construction. A whole lot. When we talk about climate change, you have a backlash. You have a trail of negative that impact on human life and environment, desertification, ocean encroachment. Because when the ice is melting, the water bodies are rising, and so you have desert encroachment. Then because of the heat waves, desertification is also going. Then the human activities and all that. And the result is where we are. Because climate change is real. A lot of people are talking about industrialization. The industrialized world that creates all manner of pollution. You recall that there was a call on some of the industrialized nations to curb pollution. America refused to sign the Paris undertaking to reduce climate change. A lot is involved. Africa being the least continent where pollution is the most affected. And the world is talking about mitigation. And so World Bank is interested in helping Nigeria in the mitigation process. Because climate change is a natural disaster and does not have solutions except mitigation. And such mitigation measures will include reforestation, reforestation, having banks and all that on waterways, financial inclusion, poverty alleviation, because that's the ultimate result. Fight against insecurity. All these are attendant factors that can come as mitigation, and only World Bank coming in aid of Nigeria is acceptable. What's your take?
See,
they're talking about mitigation.
There is a level that will not be within our control.
Yeah.
But there is a level that is directly, we can directly within the control of individuals, government, and all that. But see, because the industrial level that you talked about, where America refused to sign on that, that's beyond us.
Beyond us.
Yeah. But here, when we talk about deforestation, this is something we can relate with directly. And then, when you talk about charcoal production, this is something that we see every day within our environment. And people don't consider, they are looking at the economic circumstances. And I think that is what we can control, even as government can help people control. But the question is how?
Alternative. You can't control without providing alternative.
Exactly. Do you know how much gas costs now?
Exactly.
A kilo of gas now is more than it's getting to 1,500.
Okay.
So, and as we're saying this, as prices of these goods and services are getting higher, there is nowhere people can make money to meet up.
That's why World Bank should come in. So, and they should come with a lot of poverty alleviation programs, job creation,
there
and all that. So when you talk about mitigation, I'm interested because the problem cannot be avoided. There's heat right now.
There are certain things
in this studio. The only mitigation is to have AC. That's all. So we need mitigation measures.
But the AC you're mentioning adds to the greenhouse effect. Greenhouse effect. So this is where the issue is, and like I said, there are certain of these issues that we cannot
like human activity. Somebody recently even told me that going on lift is increasing the carbon credit. You reduce the carbon credit by, walking the stairs.
So we are directly. I mean, in case people want to ask, what is climate change?
People don't know. The heat now is
this thing that we are feeling. People can hardly sleep, and we don't even have light. Now, if I don't have light and I have generator, what happens? I go and on it.
The generation noise,
and the noise, and then the carbon that I emit adds to the effect.
Exactly.
So all our activities, except we
are moving in circles,
we come to that point where we're able to generate power through maybe gas or whatever, and then we can say, okay, we are doing this. But as long as you go back to burning fossil fuels, you add to the problem. So there's so much that we can do, but because of certain situations and conditions that we find ourselves, we add to it. When you talk about deforestation, people don't have what to eat. They don't have
alternative.
They don't have alternative. And this is firewood, yeah.
And all that. And then the ocean surge, water eating up our lands and all that. There's no solution. The only solution is for us to cut down on the way we impact on the environment. That's one. And then World Bank should really come to us because we need poverty alleviation programs. We need power and energy programs to actually help us come out of the woods. That's what we need. Well, that's as much we can take. Thank you very much for coming. I wish we could do this every day.
Good to be here.
But today comes to an end of Press Roundtable for today. Well, I'm sure you're watching us on our various social media platforms. And don't forget, sports is next.